I would like to talk about the corruption scandal looming over the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, involving the former vice president of the base Parliamentary Assembly, Luca Volonte. Do you think that the Council of Europe took adequate steps in order to address the corruption allegations?
First of all, I think we need to distinguish Council of Europe from Parliamentary Assembly. The Parliamentary Assembly is a body in itself, and what is really shocking in a way is that the Parliamentary Assembly is probably the only parliament, the only place in Europe where parliamentarians meet in their official capacity without the ethics committee that oversees, typically corruption, without some kind of oversight over its members. And so it kind of can't even do anything. And then obviously the presidency has a responsibility to act, and they didn't. And from the moment this is known, the presidency needs to, come up with a solution. And the current president, Pedro Agramunt, has not done anything on this case and basically rejects any kind of allegations. So here we have a true problem of a parliament not acting when there credible allegations about corruption and not having any tools to do so, except its president that could act, and obviously its committee on the rules that could also, come up now with a solution since the president is not acting.
Since you mentioned tools that are lacking, could you elaborate what measures could be taken in order to prevent such scenarios and corruption scams in the future?
Well, before preventing the future, we have to go back and look at what happened. And here, if there was a corruption that kind of influence the result of a vote, then in any kind of country, when you have an influence on the vote and you can't trust the vote anymore, you have to vote again. In any kind of parliament, that's what happens. So you have to go back, look into which votes are concerned, and let's hold those votes again, and we'll see what the result is. Let's hold the debate again, the vote again, and we see what the result is, just to kind of clean up. So the beginning is to clean up. To clean up, you need to be able to investigate, and that means measure number one is that this parliament now has to investigate what happened, have its own findings, have hearings, possibly public hearings, listen to the concerned people, listen to what they have to say, what is their defense, and then look into which votes are concerned. Hold the votes again. That's the cleanup. And then, of course, obviously for the future, to prevent it in the future, it can't just rely on the hands of the president. You have to have a system in place, and that's quite easy. It's in many other parliaments. That means publicity about any kind of roles that the parliamentarians have, like some of them have in their national parliaments. If you look at rules of, to prevent conflict of interest and so on in the Bundestag, they're way stronger than in many other parliaments, for example, in Azerbaijan. So put that in place here. And yes, it's going to be a common standard for everybody, and take the highest standard. If the Bundestag is the highest standard, establish that as a standard for all MPs here. If you don't want to abide by those standards as a national parliamentarian, you don't have to come to the Council of Europe. You can stay back at home. I'll take a concrete example. If an Azerbaijani parliamentarian thinks that the ethics standards are too high here in Strasbourg, don't come to Strasbourg. Stay in Baku. And so the higher standard should be applied, and then establish a ethics committee that is actually looking into this. That's one. What is also to be done in the future is to kind of appoint somehow, somewhere within the Council of Europe, an independent ethics commissioner. There's a commissioner for human rights. Well, there should be an ethics commissioner in the Council of Europe that doesn't look into only the parliament, but looks into the whole institution, and can come up with independent analysis, can provide the parliament with research, can provide the parliament with opinions, can basically prevent any of this happening again, because there's an eye looking at you. But at the end of the day, what is shocking today is that you have members of parliaments meeting here with absolutely no rules on how they're going to be behaving ethically.
Thank you very much for your insightful comments and for your interview.